Hello and welcome to this episode of Avitar Face to Face. I'm your host, Jewel Kinch-Thomas, and we love to bring you information and share with you some of the wonderful things happening in the arts and culture world in Westchester and beyond. And today we have with us a very special artist. He's a composer, he's a percussionist, he is a professor of music, and his name is Michael Wimberly, and we want to welcome him to the show.
Thank you, Jewel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We go back a little ways, so we'll be talking about some of the work that we've done together. But I'd love to begin by finding out how you first, when you first understood that drumming was a passion for you.
I think it just came naturally. I mean, I recall my mother telling me that, hey, Mom, you hear the rhythm that the rain is making? And she noticed right away that how could I have that kind of ear?
Okay.
And then just teachers in school would tell, they'd tell her, oh, your son is very musical.
Okay.
So that just took on a natural, momentum from that point.
Okay. And you're formally trained, classically trained.
Classically trained.
Yes.
But also just the foundation, just drumming in the neighborhood, putting a band together, loving music,
Right.
Getting friends together, looking at pictures, and
Okay.
saying, hey, I want to play that.
Right.
That's kind of the foundation of it. It came later, the formal training.
Right.
But it got me where I am today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So you came to New York, I think it was in what, 1982?
82.
82,
Yes.
from Ohio.
Yes.
Okay. And you just jumped right into the music world at that point?
Well, I mean, it was grad school. I went to Manhattan School of Music,
Okay.
and then spent a couple of years there and just making connections. But also at that point, coming into New York, it broadened my awareness of rhythms from other parts of the world. So in Cleveland, it wasn't so, broad
Right.
in that range.
Okay.
Although I was exposed to West African drumming, but just through a fellow classmate,
Okay.
But once I came to New York, I started to hear Haitian drumming, Cuban drumming, Dominican drumming, Puerto Rican drumming, and I would go to those communities and listen and start to absorb those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you began to play and work with different ensembles, some small.
Well, I'll say yes to that.
Yes. Okay.
And I probably a few years after getting out of school, I got involved in a play. It was Spell Number 7 by Ntozake Shange.
Okay.
And they had me drumming and maybe doing a little bit of music, but it was mostly drumming and working with actors and really getting into the theater.
Okay.
And also at the same time, my love of dance was there, so I connected with a woman named Diane Harvey.
Oh, yes.
Who brought me into Forces of Nature Dance
Right.
Company.
They are fantastic.
Yeah, they
I know
are
I've had the pleasure of presenting them on a few occasions, and I can't think of a dance company that really exudes the kind of power and skill that they have. So that's really wonderful that you would have connected that early with people like Diane Harvey and Forces of Nature.
And through that, it was my training ground, in a sense, to broaden my ability as a composer, to deepen my understanding of djembe and West African drumming in connection with dance. And we've brought that company into Riverside Theater as well.
Yes, that is so
later.
true. That's from my other life when I was at Riverside and creating programming over there, that we were introduced. I can't remember how many years ago that was, but it's been a while.
No, not that long.
But we're going to talk about that program in just a second, but I want to come back to the composing. When did that start to really develop for you? Because you've been composing for, as you said, dance companies, but also for theatrical productions and some film too.
Exactly.
So how did that begin for you, and how did that journey into these different genres?
Well, I think just the love and attraction of music with film was probably the first thing. and trying to figure out how to get into that. What do you do?
Right.
But while in college, I connected with a mime artist, I believe. Yeah, mime artist.
Okay.
And he had a big group of people, and we created some sound with that.
Okay.
And so that was a kind of a first experience of creating on the spot with movement. And it was fascinating.
Okay.
At the same time, I was doing musicals as a percussionist and drum set player. So that was the theater part.
Right.
So everything was running parallel. So I'm hearing all this fabulous classic Broadway scoring, getting a chance to work with choreographers, still learning all the drumming,
Right.
and then getting into New York. It just blossomed from there. Not only did I work with Forces of Nature at the time, but I was also working at Manhattan Community College, and Alvin Ailey had I guess an extension program there.
Right.
And Alvin Ailey was there, Judith Jamison was there. His whole team of top dancers and educators were with him.
Right.
So I had an opportunity to sit with Alvin and
Wow.
And just talk and be schooled. And he said, hey, I said I would love to write something for you, just having a young ego. And he said, fine, submit something.
Okay.
Of course, he passed away, but around I think it was 1991, I ended up doing a piece for Dwight Rhoden,
Right.
who later created the dance company Complexions.
Right.
And so we created a piece on the Ailey company called Frames. And that was my first foray into working with a company on that level.
Right.
But at the same time, Abdel Salam of Forces of Nature immediately put me to work.
Okay.
Creating sound, creating little vignettes or musical vignettes, just flushing, just giving me the opportunity to write and record and create.
Yeah. That's fabulous. So what is the process like working with companies like Forces of Nature and Ailey and Urban Bush Women? I know you've done quite a bit of work with them too.
Yes.
What is that process like, and is it very different from the composing that you would do for a theatrical piece, let's say?
Well, immediately you want to understand the storyline, if there is a storyline, so that you can find the musical components and the language to support what that story is going to be through movement, of course. Sometimes a choreographer knows exactly what they want, and they can do the choreography without any of the music, and then it's your job to come in and figure out the counts and find a color, a colorful musical palette to support that or inspire them. And they'll tell you. So it becomes a collaboration between, hey, I like this, but can you give me a little less of this or give me more of that? So if you're fast, or if you have recording tools that you can quickly assemble music with, then it's like baking bread. Okay, let's put this together, a little recipe, get it out to them. Oh, I like this. Give me a little less of that. And that's how it all comes together, with kind of unconsciously. You go with what your gut is feeling.
Right. Right.
If I start thinking about it and getting really, academic about it, it's going to lose me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So, but we're talking about some tremendous talent. That's what we're talking about, really.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Don't be modest. Yeah, and that's why you can be in demand, as you have been, for this type of work, and to bring what you do to that whole creative process.
Yes. Well, my temperament helps too. I'll go in and it's about solving problems.
Okay.
You've got a project to get out. There's a deadline.
Right.
How quick can you finish it? And are you the best person for the job?
To bring that.
Can you bring it? And so I never go in thinking I can't do it. Have I lost jobs before? Of course. But out of that work or that experience, I learned, and I've been able to maybe revamp that that music
Okay.
that I developed from that experience and use it in something else. Nothing goes to waste.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
And so it's now compare that working with choreographers to a musical director or a theatrical director.
Right.
It's the same process. You're solving a problem.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need?
Right.
You try to come up with quick ideas,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and some examples if you have those, and it's all about, of course, it's all about the team too. You know, you want to make sure that what you're bringing, the vibration,
Yes.
the energy, everything is compatible.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah,
The creative process.
that's it.
There you go.
That is it.
So you are steeped in the traditional drumming.
Yes.
You've been classically trained, and I know that also you've done some more, what do we want to call it, cutting edge type
Yes.
music. What do you feel your musical voice is?
Well, I mean, my voice and what I tend to bring through my music is really an African tradition,
Okay.
meaning the sound and the rhythmic components are really coming from the DNA from that continent. I
Right.
can't get away from it.
Right.
You know, even though I played a ballet class this morning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I will always try to rhythmically get something in there, you know, some sort of, you know, polyrhythmic something.
Right.
So that just comes through regardless and in everything that I do. Everything.
Okay.
And now the drumming, let me be specific, the European classical studies
Mm-hmm.
Have their place, and I love it.
Right.
And at the same time, I've mined more West African, East African influences in music and research because it's something about these ancient rhythms, old melodies, you know, things from that continent
Okay.
that, for whatever reason, inspire me
Yeah.
the most. And I use that as a springboard to develop this more cutting edge, as
Uh-huh.
you say.
Okay.
It's really, we're kind of, let's just put it out there, it's free jazz.
It's free jazz. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because you've played with some of everybody, Henry Rollins, P Funk, Mama Tongue, Paul Winter, and so many more. There's a breadth there of experience and really rhythms that you can bring to any particular piece of work, whether it's, you know, the stage, whether it's dance, whether it's film. That's something that you have as a gift.
Yes.
As a gift. That's really tremendous. And we should mention that you have scored music and sound design for many off-Broadway theaters, from Public Theater to Cherry Lane, Women's Project, and regional houses too.
Yes.
You know, so it's
In Atlanta and Cleveland, in Seattle,
right.
you know, just the projects move around,
Okay.
and I get called in for them, or they just call me and I'll create something and send it to them.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your travels, because during the time that I know that we worked together, I would remember you saying, okay, I'm off to Mozambique, or I'm off to the Azores, and so many different places. And one of the thoughts or the questions was, what do those places and those cultures, what do they bring to your work, and how do they help you expand, you know, the set of skills that you already have?
Well, you go in open.
Okay.
You know, just you know, I know nothing. The old adage, the more I know, the less I know. You know,
Okay.
type of thing.
Right.
Just be open, keep your heart open, and when I go into Mozambique and I, you know, and work with their national dance company,
Yes.
I'm going there to learn, really. And even though I'm going there really to create something for them, their culture and traditions are so rich.
Right.
You know, I mean, it takes a lifetime to learn this stuff. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but luckily I have a set of skills that allows me to get in and absorb things and analyze things quickly.
Right. Okay.
And then use the people. You know, I'm not trying to go there or anywhere and you know, act like I know what I'm doing. You know, like I know your stuff better.
I'm percussionist in the house. I'm here.
Right. None
Okay.
of that. It's all genuine humility,
Yes.
gratitude. You know, these things actually these are the things that open all those doors.
There you go.
You know?
There you go.
So that is just every day. That's the mantra. You
Okay.
know, just gratitude, humility.
Wonderful.
So I go there and I get inspired. You know, and I just have that prayer that, you know, let me be inspirational and let me be inspired.
Okay.
You know, every day. And so with that, it doesn't matter where I go. You know?
All right. Well, it's a beautiful philosophy to walk through life with, and particularly when you're in a creative field like this, because you're going to run into not run into, but you're going to be in the presence of things that you either don't understand or want to know better, and the things that can help fulfill you more as an artist are the things that you're going to allow yourself to be, you know, part of. So that's a fabulous way to move through the world. Yeah. So now, when we met, I can't believe I don't remember if I approached you or you came into the theater space.
Well, it was I think when you came on board in that position, my sister Bridget was a part of, I don't know, Harlem Alliance or something.
We did a whole women's playwrights.
Right.
Yes, I remember. Okay, because your sister, the talent runs in the family, apparently. Your sister's a fabulous playwright, so we'll have to have her on here sometime.
Yeah.
Okay.
She would love it, I know it.
Yeah, but you came to me with this concept for a program that became part of our an annual part of our Family Arts Festival for I don't know how many years we did it, 5, 6, 7 years.
We started in 2005 with that. We actually, I believe, started in 98 or 99, presenting just annual programs with a variety of artists. And you know, and that's another love. Producing and organizing an event was just
that's what we've got in common right there.
Right.
But the program was Power of Drum.
Yes.
What was that conceptually for you to want to pull that together? What is it?
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes you just hear a voice, you know, and first of all, you offered me the opportunity to present another show on the Family Festival, that Arts Festival that year.
Right.
And I just heard this voice saying that honor Max Roach.
Oh, that
Honor
event
Max
was
Roach.
just spectacular.
You know.
You're bringing it back to me now. Yeah.
So I followed the voice.
Okay.
And all the doors opened, and I attracted that.
Right.
And then the vision became clear. And actually, I think I presented a couple of titles to you, and you suggested, at the time we were saying The Power of Drum.
Right.
I've kind of dropped
the
but you said that rang true to you, and I went with that. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, just having Max Roach's family say yes, number one, to bring him in, you know, when he was ailing, but still very conscious with us.
Yes.
To bring all the people that he's inspired. And who wanted to pay tribute to him, other musicians who recorded and spent lifetime with him.
Right.
You know, Forces of Nature was there.
Everybody was
Gil
in that
Noble,
house. Yeah.
You know, the great late Gil Noble's, you know, was the host. To have films that had never been seen in this country with Alvin Ailey.
Yes.
If you recall that, I don't know if you recall that. It was a brilliant film. And just so much talent that night. It was like 3.5 hours long.
It was. But folks loved every minute of it, and the house, I remember, was packed, and the energy was incredible, and it was just such a wonderful tribute to an icon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and there we became Power of Drum, and you have taken that. I mean, you brought in some fabulous artists every single year, and the program was always, high quality, just really well put together. But you've taken this internationally.
I have. Um, with my travels as a jazz musician, sometimes you get into a place where you may have several days in one place, and opposed to just walking around the town.
Being tourist.
Right. Yeah, you connect with people, and then you say, hey, are there any kids here? I've worked with children for years, through a number of artistic umbrellas here in New York City.
Okay.
But I just happened to be on the island of São Miguel in the Azores.
Right.
And for those who don't know the Azores, there are 9 islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean that are owned by Portugal under their ruling. So anyway, I was on this island for maybe 10 days or so, and I fell in love with the place, and I was invited back, and I spent 5 weeks or whatever,
Nice.
getting to meet the people, the community, working with local musicians. And then one other time I had asked a friend, I said, hey, are there any children who, maybe less fortunate, some kids who need a little guidance.
Right.
And this woman took me to a place where children of fishermen in a more not so ritzy area,
Okay.
and she organized all of these discarded metal barrels and plastic cans and things. I had asked, can you find me some plastic buckets?
Okay.
I thought the subway drumming bucket.
Right, right.
She found giant oil cans and,
Okay.
it was mind blowing, but we created music and we saw the power of that moment
Okay.
in those children. And then I just kind of thought, wow, this is, drumming, power of drum. Let me bring this educational idea to it, component more or less, not bring in a, well-known, accomplished percussionist.
Right.
Let's just bring the educational component here and inspire children with drumming.
Right.
And so that's how it all came together. And, I'm working with conservatories, working with other children, I did like 5 islands down there, and
Wow.
and the mainland as well,
Okay.
in Portugal. So
Fantastic.
it's all
So
under
this
power
is-
of drum.
Yeah. Wow. That I love it. I love it that you've taken it to that level,
yeah.
and that you're able to bring more communities and children into that experience. That's so fabulous. But the whole educational component is a very important part of what you do. We only have a couple minutes left, but I do want you to speak to that a little bit because you're a professor. And and you're teaching, and you have instructional videos on drumming, and you've written books. So just a couple of
Okay. Well, just on the books end, let me just mention that I've got 2 books out that are both introduction books: Introduction to Djembe
right.
and Introduction to Cajon, and both published by Hudson Music. And I'm just so proud to be a part of that family, within that publication. It's done very well. Thousands of books have been sold.
Fantastic. and well, on that note, if anyone wanted to get a book for that kind of introductory, where would they go? Who would they?
Well, you can just Google,
Okay.
I guess, Intro to Djembe,
Right.
or
Your name.
just Michael Wimberly
Right,
book,
okay.
However, it will take you there. It's on Amazon. It's on every possible outlet.
Okay.
That's why I like them.
Fantastic. You just recently and completed a project, and that I had the pleasure of interviewing the director earlier, and it was Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes.
And this production done by the Classical Theater of Harlem, and I went to see it last night, and I tell you, it was fabulous. More folks should go see it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Costumes were great. Music was incredible,
Oh, thank you.
and just the whole production. But that was something that you just finished, and what
Yes.
was that experience like? Because it's for an outdoor setting
Yeah.
at Marcus Garvey Park.
Well, I mean, the choreographer, Lakai Warrell,
Yes.
connected me with Justin Emeka, the director.
Okay.
And just, he knew that, I think initially Justin wanted a drum set player who could compose and possibly sound design.
Right.
Well, that's me.
There you go. There
You
you
know.
go.
And after hearing, Justin's take on it, I immediately wanted to be a part of that because he was bringing in the African, Brazilian, Angolan feeling and flavor that he wanted, and I was, oh yeah, I want a part of that. And then as a sound designer, I've sound designed several off-Broadway productions, so I already knew how to do that.
Okay.
And I've directed. I had a little directing. Oh, did you?
Ah.
I directed some excerpts of Midsummer's Night back many years ago with Lincoln Center. But nonetheless,
Excuse me.
he brought me in and he is so clear about what he wants that I really didn't have to think very much. It was just great to work with 19 actors, work with the music of Brazil using capoeira movement,
Right.
and the songs or the melodies from that genre. And at the same time, Justin loves the music of D'Angelo. So we got licensed to use some of his music, and just I remixed these things and then placed some melodies on top of those structures. It was great.
It was fabulous. It was fabulous. Do you have a website? If folks want to know what you have coming up next, where would they go?
You can go to www.powerofdrum.com.
All right, Power of Drum. Michael Wimberly, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank
Been
you.
a pleasure to speak with you. I know there's more that we could talk about, but that will have to be another show.
That's all right.
Okay. And thank you all so much for joining us today, and we hope that we see you again on another Avitar Face to Face when we talk about all the fabulous arts and culture that is going on in this area. Thank you so much. Until next time.